Hi guys, this is going to be a quick video showing how we can use Graphext to study brand conversations. So this is a project on Coca-Cola. It's a data set I scraped using Tractor, our data scraping device. But if you want to run your own project, you can upload any CSV, Excel, JSON you might have. This is the data set that I uploaded. And just with a couple clicks, I ran this text analysis project. If you're curious on how we did it, or if you don't believe it was just a couple clicks, we have lots of videos showing how we do it and in real time. But for time's sake, I started with the project already made. And really, this is what it looks like with all of these variables already selected. This graph is already made for us. Let's dive in and see what we're looking at. So we zoom in, we can see that each node here is a row from our data set. In this case, each one is a tweet, and it's organized on the graph depending on the similarities to the other tweets in the data sets. And from there, it's organized to these lovely clusters, depending on certain topics that they have in common that we can see here on the left. So we can see, for example, this blue cluster is love. We have another one on Russia, Ukraine, another one on Coke Zero. So let's dive in and see what the conversations around these clusters are. So let's take this cluster on Coke Zero and sugar. So to get a better idea of what we're talking about, I can scroll down here to the significant terms. And this is also extracted automatically for us when we run the project. So we can see here that people are talking about sugar and Coke Zero. They're also talking about vanilla, caffeine. That's interesting. I can take another step closer, click on caffeine. And then here I have the tweets where people are using the word caffeine in their tweet. We can see it's 76 tweets in total. I can jump back to my data section, and this is going to reflect my selection. So it's these 76 tweets that I have selected. And if I am interested in extracting just these tweets, I can download that as a CSV. So let's go back to our graph and analyze the sentiments and see what the feeling is when people are talking about Coca-Cola. So this is another thing that's extracted automatically when you run a project. So Graphext uses the NLP model Hugging Face to analyze the sentiment of these tweets, and it's done automatically. So this is something that done manually would take days of work, maybe even from a whole team, but with Graphext, it's done in just a couple minutes. So we can see that most of the tweets are neutral, and it looks like there's a similar amount of positive and negative tweets. So while we have this variable selected negative, we can see how the other variables are affected. So this blue bar represents my selection, where the gray bar represents the overall data set. So I can change the way these are sorted, click on selection, and it's going to show us. So these are the authors that are tweeting negatively about Coca-Cola. We can also see which hashtags are being used. But the most exciting part is to see which topics are people tweeting negatively. So we have this selected, and I'm going to filter this by selection, and this is going to show us our clusters or our topics of conversation where people are tweeting negatively. So I think it's quite interesting to look at all of the clusters where people are tweeting negatively about Coca-Cola. So I also have the option to save this as an insight, and it's going to save it for me in a workspace if I wanted to share this with colleagues or clients. So this what we saw today is just one of our many graphs. You can see we also have sections up here to investigate further, find different types of insights, and explore your project a bit more. And this was just a really quick overview, but if you have any questions, as always, feel free to shoot us a question or check out some of our other projects.